Let's talk Eagles. Biggest concern. We talked a lot about the Vikings, giving them their due credit yesterday. What's going on with this team?
I have 5 things that I'm concerned about with this team. Very quickly. Lane, Peters, Kelsey, Brooks, Wisniewski, the 5 offensive linemen for the Eagles. You can have your Carson Wentz and your Nick Foles. That was the heart and soul of that Super Bowl team. That's where it started. Fletcher Cox is a great player. Those 5 guys, switched out a few of them last year. They're not playing well. If you look up the numbers, I won't even get into them. The quarterbacks are getting hit a lot more than they were last year. There's no dog up front, and I'm not saying that to be cute with the mask. There's just the dog isn't there, and the numbers aren't there, and the protection isn't there. And the takeaway image of the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season for the Eagles is Carson Wentz getting rocked last week, the ball going up in the air, and Linval Joseph running away with it. The offensive line needs to reclaim the swagger and attitude of this team. It starts with them.
I've always said the Achilles heel to me with the Eagles was their secondary, that they got back with a little smoke and mirrors, some scotch tape last year. And even the Patriots lit them up in the Super Bowl. They just scored more points.
Yeah.
This year, it's coming back to hurt them. I think the secondary and the pass defense. And you want to look at a couple plays here. I mean, the first play from scrimmage for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they play them. Here we go, deep to Sean Jackson. It's tough to dig out of holes when right away things are happening like this. And then how about the end of the game against the Titans? It's 4th and 15. Marcus Mariota is throwing for 344 yards. Watch the secondary here. Just keep an eye on how those cornerbacks are let up. They've got to go 15 yards for a first down. If they keep them within 15 yards, they win the game. Well, did someone forget about that? Because the marker's right there, and he went 16 yards and got it. This is troublesome to me because in the NFL today, it's all about passing, it's all about aerial attack, it's all about offense. And if the Eagles can't stop anybody, and we saw Thielen and Diggs on Sunday go nuts, well, then they're not going to be playing in February when they were last year.
Digging themselves into holes here on defense, but how about the offense not getting early leads? That's what they did last year, especially at this time. It wasn't even that they were beating teams. They were crushing teams, putting up big numbers. They're averaging less than 2 points in the first quarter a game this season. They have 7 total points scored this whole season combined in the first quarter. Where did that go? They were number 1 in the red zone last year, converting 65% of the time. They're 18th this year. A lot of it, I'm sure, has to do with losing LeGarrette Blount. He was such a huge factor at the goal line. And red zone target, Trey Burton, also not part of this. I said it going into the season, it doesn't feel like the same team. You don't have DiFilippo, you don't have Reich, and the biggest piece that might be missing, in my opinion, might be that something to play for. They had that chip on their shoulder, that mentality. It was everywhere. It's all we talked about. I know that last season at this time it was, dog mask worth the thing yet, but they had this character and this thing that united them, and I don't know if they have it anymore. I haven't seen it on the field.
Yeah, you mentioned DiFilippo, you mentioned Reich, and I'm going to talk about the offense. In order to have those explosive games and to score points, you got to be explosive on first down. You got to be explosive on second down. And that leads me to third down. Third down through 5 weeks last year, they were leading the NFL. That means it was manageable because they were so explosive on first and second down. Now they find themselves in situations where they're sitting there like this saying, oh, now it's 3rd and long. How am I going to manage this? And they're getting rid of the ball more times than they're keeping the ball. So I'm looking for these guys to fix their third down efficiency. The mark of any good offense is either dominating on third down or putting yourself where it's 3rd and short on most games. So for me, that's where this team struggles at, and that's on the offensive side of the ball.
They say when you win a Heisman Trophy and before the bowl game, sometimes there's something called the banquet circuit, where you go on the circuit and every week you're eating a steak and you're having a salad, and every night there's a little bit of that going on with the Eagles, too, I think. The banquet circuit, where we've got a lot of books, we've got a lot of speeches, we've got a lot of
commercials,
TV appearances, commercials. It's hard to avoid.
They enjoyed it too much or something?
I don't know. It's hard to avoid enjoying and celebrating.
It's hard to avoid the fruits of
There's
your
a
labor.
reason teams don't repeat.
They deserved it.
It's hard.
Sure, they did.
Are you worried about them?
Yeah. I can't say I'm not. I mean, they can go 2-4 on Thursday night, losing to a bad Giants team. So, yeah, I am.
They won 2 games, both those wins against 1 and 4 teams.
Hey, listen, Halloween is almost
work to do,
here. Go shopping for some masks. Go find that
something.
Find
the
something.
whole suit.
Maybe it's not being an underdog, but go find some type of mask and get that swagger back. Get that edge back.
To add to Garofalo, would you be surprised if they made a move?
No, but I don't think Le'Veon Bell's the answer to this team. They've got a locker room. They're good.
There we go. All right, and they split the backfield last year and had a lot of success with it, so hopefully they can make it happen.